Alright, hello and welcome to HRL Season 11, round number 4 here at Auzetta. This is going to be the fourth of the 4-track categories, getting them all right out of the way in the beginning. The last of which here is Rallycross with Auzetta. As you can see, the schedule, we have a pretty big, pretty sizable Rallycross break after this, but then eventually we'll get back to Latvia about a month later, get to Mirabilis. And then, of course, early on in the grand finals, get Portugal. So 4 Rallycross tracks in the schedule, and a pretty wide range of track selection here. I think that the most similar actually probably are Auzetta and Mirabilis, but even then, Auzetta is unique in its own ways. We'll get to the track here in a second. Previous results here up on screen: points gap, team winners, heats, all that stuff. Heat winners, third places, second places, first places. Detail coming off his first one of the season at Barvo, trying to repeat here at Auzetta. Opix with his first podium at Barvo, gonna bring it here for a win at Auzetta. Nah, I'm just kidding. Alright, let's go to the points. Updated points here from Barvo. The Detail holding a strong lead right now, and Barvo, as oval races tend to do, just complete unpredictable conking in the points. You just never really know what to expect, and that kind of stayed true for Barvo. So the gap from first and second pretty big. Even the gap second to third launched a real deal. Pretty sizable ump sitting there comfortably in fourth. Opix with a pretty big gain from that podium finish in fifth. He's gonna have to try to hold on to that this week. Hunter here in sixth, Roman in seventh, Elite eighth, Vulcan ninth. Missing the race, of course. So of this top 10, the top of my head, yeah, I think Vulcan was the only one of the top 10 here that missed Barvo. So just kind of have to factor that in. And then Camby rounding out the top 10. And as you can see, like, you have the first place to second place, like, kind of, you know, sizable gaps there. But then it gets kind of close. Like, third through seventh, honestly, is like anybody's game. Really, it's only an 8-point gap from third all the way down to seventh. And then eighth and ninth, like, fall off, 10th as well, like, fall off a little bit. But this, like, mid-pack right now, it's really competitive. And I'm definitely looking for Vulcan to bring back some points here after, of course, missing Barvo. Just kind of unfortunate, because we should see him in this top 10 battle throughout the season. So just kind of unfortunate to not have him there, have him be the only one missing it. But without further ado, let's get into the racing. So we're going to be starting off with the heats here. I'm going to try to, like I said before, I'm going to try to show the heats to the best of my ability, as long as we don't have any like LCQs or just major cheese that's just going to like just take too long, you know. As long as we don't have any crap like that to deal with, I'll try to show the heats throughout the season. Alright, so let's look at the order here. We have heat number 1 lined up at the front. I should be able to get this. We got Shift, Camby, Hunter, and Opix. And then in the next row, we have Ump, Slaunch, and Detail. Yeah, it should be easy tonight. We're going to have about 13 racers tonight, which means we have 7 drivers in this first heat that you see here on screen. There's going to be 6 in the second heat. Again, 13 total for the main. Not too bad, not too bad. And let's get on with it. Let's watch for the gate. When the gate drops, you're going to go green. 3-lap heats here. 3-lap heats, and then the feature, I'll remind you again once we get to it, going to be a 17-lap feature. Green flag. Already a 5 wide into the first corner. And some big runs from the drivers in the back row. Shift really got forced out. Started in first, already back to last. That is unfortunate. Oh, Detail on the pole there. It cost him some time. Camby really digging in on the inside. And then Ump did Ump get forced in the rock there? I kind of feel like he did. That was just sort of like an unexpected, pretty big loss of time right there. I'm guessing that's probably what happened to him. Pretty unfortunate. And Opix spins out in the first tricky part of the track, and that just ends up in a complete conk for Ump, Slaunch, and Shift. That is going to be a tough hill to climb back up for them. Really rough crash there. And yeah, their heat race is not off to a good start. But this is a pretty long track. My bad, I didn't do a run through the track. Maybe I'll do a quick run through for the second heat. But you'll get accustomed to the track. Even though it's only 3 laps here, you'll get accustomed to it real quick. For as far as rallycrosses go, it's definitely more so like in the GP area, I guess. Like the actual like sand part of the track isn't too long. It's definitely the least sizable portion for sure. maybe like 75-25, something like that, in favor of the GP parts of the track. We're entering the sand right now. You get a look at it. Pretty tricky sand section, actually. It doesn't look very tricky, but it is. It can be very tough. I think you're going to see a lot of cheese here throughout the race. Oh, man, that is unfortunate for Opix there. Oh, my God. Just don't worry about the shenanigans off the side of the track. I forgot about that. But yeah, the whole sand part of the track, even though it is definitely the smaller part of the track, don't underrate it though. It is going to have, I think, the most cheese. Second most cheese, probably that like downhill chicane is really tricky. It reminds me of like, it's almost like a variant of the Mirabilis downhill, but like a little bit different, you know, kind of like switches it on its head. Really enjoy it. Pretty fun part of the track, and I think it's gonna be fun to watch these drivers battle with it. So here in the lead, it's actually Hunter who led down the first lap, holding on to it strong so far. That's Detail in second, and third is going to be Slunch, and potentially fourth. Yep. Oh, he slid out. Oh, not quite yet. Fourth is going to be Camby. So Slunch recovering pretty well off the first lap incident. Trying to recover off it. Still has to get by Camby, but definitely still possible. Plenty of time to go. I mean, we're probably like just hitting the halfway point of the heat right about now. And it might happen. Oh, Camby. Oh, the little cheese off the side of the track from Ump. I think he didn't feel right about that, so he lets off a little bit. Let Camby back in the battle. Camby did not leave much room, though, to be fair. And that four-way battle in the back is still going hard. Lead. Looks like Hunter will hold on to it for now. Sounds pretty much safely in third. Oh, Camby on the outside. Opix 3 wide. As they settle out, so Ump will eventually take hold of that fourth place position. And right as we get back to it, Detail now contending for the lead. And a pretty solid pass right there. Just going to get by Hunter. Let's see if Hunter has anything to fight back with. And like I said, this track, you know, lap time wise and some other things too, actually probably is most similar to Mirabilis as far as things go, rallycross wise. Like this, I honestly feel like these two tracks are kind of similar. Or as similar as you can get. The other two rallycrosses we see in the schedule, Portugal, it's kind of its own thing, kind of like a intermediate track, I guess. And then Latvia is the short track. No, not short of challenge though. Latvia does have some pretty challenging parts and some fun remix elements that I'm sure we'll see when we get to that track. Not Latvia V2. It's more of a remix. It's like a Latvia V2 V2. It's like another remix of the original Latvia, but not of Latvia V2 is the best way I can explain it. But yeah. So that's the shortest track on schedule for Rallycross, but like I said, definitely has some challenging parts and some own unique elements to it that I think will make it an interesting race. But here we're actually on the white flag. We're on the later half of the lap too, and we're going to be coming to a close here soon for this first heat at Auzetta. And I think what we saw from this first heat is there is definitely some cheese potential. That is the Joker there, by the way. So pretty clearly indicated. Not the biggest advantage. It's definitely a shortcut Joker, I can guarantee that. But not the biggest advantage for a shortcut Joker. I mean, we have wide variety of Joker advantages and disadvantages throughout the schedule. We have fast Jokers, slow Jokers, fast Jokers that are really fast, slow Jokers that are fairly slow, fast Jokers that are kind of in the middle, slow that are kind of the middle. But on this track, it's definitely, I think, like the fast. That's kind of in the middle. And for our finishing results, it's going to be Detail taking the win, Hunter second, Slaunch third, Ump fourth. Looks like we're going to be coming in with Opix 5th, Camby 6th, and Shift. We'll round out the field in 7th. So there you go. There's your first heat. Not too bad. Let's get lined up for the... Well, while they're lining up for the second heat, I guess I could go through it since I forgot to in the beginning. So a little run through of Auzetta. Here's the start. Pretty good spot for a start. There's definitely some, as there always is with RX starts, to be honest, always some cheese potential. As there's a corner. It's not the, you know, roughest corner, but there's a corner like pretty much right after the start. After you get like probably near full speed. I think the most interesting part though to watch on the start is actually this uphill, because with the way the start is lined up, you can see some people get some fat runs going up to this uphill. So I think that'll probably happen a few times. So yeah, you go up to that uphill, go through here, and almost like a section that kind of reminds me of like the triple pole section on Dillian here. Honestly, is kind of what this reminds me of. Go up here, we just have like a weird off camber corner here with some sand on the inside of it. Another pretty fat. This is like an OG Mirabilis neck camber here. Little uphill to give you some speed into this next section. And then up here we have my personal favorite part of the track. I really like this downhill chicane. It's just like a lot trickier than it looks. Like I don't know. It looks fairly simple for what we've dealt with in GPs recently, but it's actually still pretty tough, and I think you'll see many drivers make mistakes there throughout the race, any skill level. So you go over the bridge. Pretty cool spot of the track over here. This is probably like the most simple part, I would say. But you could probably still make some moves if you set it up in the bridge into our second, well, maybe, I guess technically like third chicane here. Most simple one of the three. But can still set you up for some moves. Under the bridge, back up here. Nice little hairpin to send us off into the sand section. Starts off with a pretty simple inside with a berm on the outside. And then a little jump here. And then you get this like inside rut right there, which is definitely the preferred line, but sometimes you're going to get forced wide. You're going to see some drivers have to run that outside berm, but the inside rut, I'm sure, will be the preferred line there. And really tricky sand section here. It probably would be less tricky if there could have been like a full berm around the outside there. But because of course, the Joker right here, which we're not going to see in the heats, you only get like part of that berm. So that makes this very tricky. And like same thing here. So here, like no full berm, just a little bit to catch you if you go wide. So very tricky sand section. I think a lot of the conks, a lot of time potential to be made there. As we get into the later half of the sand section, even this last like sand chicane pretty much is fairly tricky. You can definitely gain some time here going to the finish line. All right, so we should be ready here soon. Yep. For the second heat, gate just went up. Let's get through this order. Oh no, the armor is conked. I believe that's Fireball, Commando, Vulcan, Roman, and then Real Deal and Luke in the back. So, ready for the second heat. Keep your eyes on the gate. When it drops, you're going to be going green. Same thing as the other heat, 3 laps. And that is all there's going to be. No jokers, no jokers. For RX, we only do the jokers during the feature, and there will be 2 jokers. Green flag. So far, potentially a cleaner start than the other one, but there's still time to go. Yeah, I would say so. Definitely a cleaner start than the first heat. But there's still more of the track to go. Oh, Real Deal with an unfortunate flip there in the back, and the Commando's kind of like pinning him. Not really sure what happened there. Was that a lag crash? I kind of missed that. That was weird. But that is an unfortunate start for Real Deal. Not the start that he wanted to his night. But still plenty of time for Cheese here. Fireball so far leading the pack down into this tricky downhill. Oh, and Roman immediately into the pole. Luke's just going to boosh him out of it and take the spot. So Roman's going to lose podium there. Settle back in. Vulcan up here trying to contend with Fireball. And Fireball, through amazing fashion, yanks his controller off his desk or something, or yanks his phone, has to figure whatever. He just conks, right? He conks. So that is unfortunate for Fireball because he has to correct that. He's going to lose a lot of ground there, but he does pull back out in front of Real Deal in 4th, which is a pretty big position to pull out in front of there. If Real Deal can come back and take that from him, we'll see how it goes. Could be a battle there, but we kind of split into 2 packs of 3. We had that big pack at the back of the last heat. Looks like we're going to have 2 packs of 3 in this one. That means that Vulcan's going to be your leader. And if he can hold on to it, he's doing a good job so far. Oh my god. What's up with people on the track in these heats? If he can hold on to it, Vulcan will be leading a lap in this heat. Oh, little contact, but he will take it. Vulcan leading a lap down in this heat. Remember, Vulcan is actually a previous heat winner, and something that I just thought of. I believe that Detail winning the other heat is actually the first repeat heat winner that we've had this season. So we've had pretty competitive heats so far, but so far in heat number 1, Detail was able to get a repeat heat win, and now it's Luke in the lead here too, and if he takes the dub, he could get a repeat heat win. Actually, has Roman? I don't think Roman's won a heat. I'll have to double check that, but Vulcan has as well, so the top 2 right now could get a repeat heat win as well. So we're going to see that record. Well, we've already seen it broken, but we could potentially see it broken even more so. Yeah, Vulcan was just all kinds of squirrely there in the downhill. Roman not able to take advantage and get by him, and sometimes like you can gain some time in that downhill, but sometimes it can be pretty hard to make moves. Like even if you make up some time on someone, they have to mess up really, really bad for you to be able to like complete the pass. If they like mess up a little bit but then recover at the end and are still able to block you, there's just not much you can do. And that's honestly how I feel a lot about a lot of the sections on this track. I feel like a lot of them are like that. Oh my god, Roman with the biased move I've seen in 2019 right there. Came in hot on Vulcan and was just not wasting any time right there. Going to put himself in a second. Vulcan now falling back to third. And Real Deal's actually put himself back in the conversation. Could even make a move for podium here. He's got a little bit of a glimmer of hope, but not able to quite get it side by side when he needed to. Down into downhill sand chicane. 2 laps down. That means that there's 1 lap to go here. White flag, last lap for this heat number 2. It's funny because these heats are normal length, but they just feel so short because it's you know, not as many laps, even though this track is long enough to justify it. It's weird how that works. Just wait till we get to Goaty with the 2-lap heats. Hell yeah. So look now with a pretty commanding lead. Roman with a pretty commanding gap for second as well. I think the real battle in this heat remaining is actually going to be for this 3rd place spot between Real Deal and Vulcan, and this is huge. Can Real Deal make this move? Vulcan was rough here last time around. Like I said, though, it can be hard to make the move. Real Deal's just kind of showing his nose, but couldn't quite get the run that he needed. And Real Deal really needs to make a recovery. I mean, Roman as well, honestly. Really needs to make a recovery night here at Auzetta. We'll be looking at them, I'm sure, throughout the night because they had an absolute just awful performance at Barvo, putting it honestly. Just uncharacteristic for the two, and especially for their team. They're going to have to bring it back here at Auzetta. And this is an interesting track because we're going to really see, like, you know, we've kind of seen so far. Oh, Real Deal on the pole, man. He went for it. That is unfortunate. But we've kind of seen so far, like, what teams, with the first 3 races, what teams look like they're going to be strong at which types of track. And Auzetta's the last one. It's the 4th. It's the odd man out. We've had 3 different team winners. We'll probably, well, not probably. We're going to see a repeat team win here. Who's it going to be? Not too sure so far. But Luke's going to take the heat win here. Second heat win for him of the season. Roman coming home in second. Vulcan holding on to that 3rd. And Real Deal loses the spot to Fireball. No! Fireball with the 4th. Real Deal with 5th. And coming across the line in 6th will be Commando. All right. So, no wasting time here. Let's get right into it. Hold on, let me make sure that's not... Okay, that's perfect. All right. So, here we go. Going to be starting up the feature here for Auzetta. On the gate, we're going to have Detail, Luke, Hunter, and Roman leading down the front row. Members from all 3 teams. Slaunch, Vulcan, Ump, and Fireball. three nice Yas members in 1 row. And then this 3rd row, we're going to have Opix, Real Deal, Camby, and Commando. And in our 4th and final row, all by his lonesome, is going to be Shift. 13 drivers on the gate. First rallycross race of the season. Kind of a special track type, seeing as we don't see as many rallycrosses being made or being raced. So we have to enjoy them when they come up. The gate drops are going to be going green. Anything's going to fly. 17-lap race, 2 jokers, green flag. Watch this first corner. There's those drivers on the outside. What I was talking about in the heats, getting those runs. And it's going to work. Roman's going to get the whole shot. That was a driver in the pole early on. I think that might have been Fireball. Still a 4 wide. Oh my goodness. Like 3 wides as well. And Opix just kind of like climbed over Real Deal there. We still have almost a 4 wide there going into the rock. Surprisingly, nobody hits the rock. I thought somebody for sure was going to get forced into that rock first lap, but they're able to survive it. As we're going to go into the downhill chicane for the first time. Let's see how cheesy it is. Ooh, Detail potentially competing for the lead already, and yeah, that's tough in the middle. Oh, man. Most of the drivers in the front pack got through that pretty clean. Drivers in the back, not so lucky. Through the 3rd chicane here. Ooh, Slaunch with a little contact on the tire there. Allow not Fireball, sorry, Hunter close the gap a little bit. And we have a really close battle so far for top 3. I think that's actually Ump in 4th right now. So pretty solid start for him. Let's watch him go into the sand this first time, and look at that. Detail is going to go for the Joker right away. So Joker's on any laps, by the way, for this race. Hunter also going to go for it. Anyone else? And I think Fireball just kind of got forced into it there. He was like, well, I kind of have to. So a few drivers already with Joker usages, and that's going to put Detail into the lead, and he's going to lead the first lap down. An interesting strategy. That was kind of cool how that worked out. He was like side by side with Roman, so this next lap here is really going to be the test. And Hunter came out right in front of Luke here, so he's going to work his way into a podium spot eventually. Roman holding on a second. This will be interesting to see if Roman decides to retaliate and go for a Joker right away, or if he holds on to them. I think he probably should try to do it, but we'll see what he does. And as you can see, like, Detail has a pretty big lead after that. Of course, like, they were side by side when he took the Joker, but you know, not like a Mirabilis. Like, the Mirabilis Joker is pretty fat. That's not, you know, that's not as much of a gap as we've seen on other Rallycross Jokers. That's not too bad. Maybe like a 4-second advantage or so. Hunter's still holding on to that podium slaunch now. In the top 5, Ump and Real Deal, they're just outside of it battling. I'm sure they'll have a good battle for that spot, but I'm looking for Jokers here. I'm going to see what these drivers do. Especially these early laps. Always love to look out for them. People in the HRL love to get their Jokers done right away. So Detail just says screw it. Goes for the second Joker. Roman goes for his first. Hunter looked like he was just undecided until the end, and that's going to be a big mistake. Loses a ton of time. And messes up Ump there at the end too. Real Deal going for a Joker. That might be Vulcan there. Camby. A lot of Joker usages that lap. Ooh, Hunter pulling out right in front of Camby. So that's unfortunate for Roman. We'll see if he goes for 2 in a row this lap to try to compete for the lead. Detail's strategy so far looking pretty good, but that's 2 Jokers right away. We'll have to see how that works out. This Joker usage has put Vulcan into a position to potentially battle with Slaunch here for 5th. Yep. And Real Deal with that usage, he kind of just put himself far and away in 4th. The 2 podium holders still, Roman and Luke 2nd and 3rd, respectively, with a pretty strong gap. With all the mistakes that we've seen in the rest of the field, I think that the top 3's got a really big advantage on these first few laps of getting away from that cheese. And it's going to take a lot of work for the rest of the field to try to catch up to these guys. Love looking at these, getting these wide shots here until we get all the Jokers used up, or most of them at least. Let's see if we have any usage here in the podium. Now, Detail, of course, not going to be using the Joker. Can't anymore. He's already done. 2 laps down. Let's see what we see here. No. Both drivers in the top 3 going to stay in. What does Real Deal do? He's going to stay in as well. That was a good call, I think. And Hunter is going to take a second Joker. That's what we're waiting for. And he comes out right behind Real Deal. Not too bad. Not too bad, but at the same time, Real Deal's only used 1. I'm not sure if Slaunch has used any. Vulcan's used 1. I don't even think Ump has used any either at this point. So, like, Hunter not in the best position, but could be worse. Real Deal should be fairly strong at this track. Probably not going to hold up Hunter too much. So Hunter's probably just going to try to follow in and try to gain some time right now. It's a good opportunity for him to put in some hot laps and try to get as much of a gap as he can, because he used those 2 Jokers early and definitely did not have as much positioning on the track as I'm sure he wanted or hoped for. That's rough for him. Prin, you gotta relax. So we go through the bridge. As you can see, already some under-over action here. It's actually Ump and Vulcan fairly close. Just went over the bridge. Let's keep our eyes on these top 3 again. Do any of them elect to go for the Joker? Roman and Luke still with 1 in their sleeve. Like I said, Detail up front, of course. He's fine. Good to go for the rest of the race. Here we go. And Roman does not go for it, but Luke does. So we'll have to see how that works out. How long does Roman hold on to it for? These drivers, no one electing for it yet. That's Fireball right there, man. Fireball's in a rough spot early on in this race, and this is a big race for Fireball. You know, came back on an oval. Now he's got a Rallycross, and traditionally, in the past, like, Fireball's actually been pretty solid at Rallycross. So, trying to see how well he can do here, if he can bring some of that magic back. But he had a rough start, just from the get-go, literally like the first corner in the pole. And that's just not the way you want to start your race, and it's just been an uphill battle for him since then. And Hunter's lost a lot of time in Real Deal. He's now trying to hold on to that spot from Slaunch, but makes the mistake in the rumble, and Slaunch is going to get by, working his way back into the top 5. Ump and Vulcan here just trying to stalk, trying to make some gains best that they can. And there's the gap for the lead. Detail and Luke, pretty solid gap, maybe like 3 or 4 goose lengths right now. So still fairly close. We'll have to see how close Roman can be when he decides to take that second joker. Hunter and Slaunch. Hunter not giving up on this position yet. Staying pretty close, still keeping it within a goose length. It's not really going to matter in the long run because Slaunch still has 2 jokers up his sleeve, but Hunter trying to do whatever he can to just hold on to whatever positioning he can at this point. He knows he's going backwards, so he's trying his best. Another lap down. Let's get an update on that. Five laps in. Pretty relax. 5 laps into the 17-lap race, 12 laps left. That's that top 3. They are pretty much gone at this point. I mean, I know there's still jokers on the table for some people, but I really think the top 3 is like secured at this point. It's going to take some major changes, some big crashes, big mistakes to switch up that top 3 hardcore, because they're just like, they just had really good starts and they're just out there right now, way out in front. Oh, Hunter with a mistake in the downhill. Ump tried to take advantage, but was not able to do it. Gets stuck on the pole. That is unfortunate. Going to cost him a lot of time there, and allows Vulcan and Fireball to get pretty close behind. That's literally a 3-row of Nice Yass members right there. A train, if you will. Trying to get their way back into this race. Back into the top 5 if possible for any of them. I mean, the best... I think Fireball's already expended both of his jokers. Vulcan maybe has 1. Ump has both to go, so he's probably in the best... Well, he's, I would say, definitely in the best spot of those 3 drivers. Not even close. He's like easily in the best spot. I think Roman decides to not use his joker yet again, so he's really holding on to that. Trying some sort of strategy. And there it is, Ump. Well, this might be close. Rejoins right in front of Slaunch, so even with that mistake, Ump's first joker usage was huge. Comes out right where he wants to and can potentially make a move on Real Deal. And he's going to make it happen. Ump now working his way into 4th place right there. 2 passes at the end of that lap. That was big gains for sure. I thought he might not have had it after that incident in the downhill getting into the pole, but he was able to rally it back just enough to make that move happen here at the end of that lap. And that's pretty huge for him. I mean, well, what is it? Real Deal. Has he used both? I think Real Deal still has 1 in the chamber, right? I'm not sure. Slaunch still has both, so Ump's still got someone to contend with. I think Slaunch might be in a really good spot to go for 4th right now, if he can keep it clean. Hunter, not so much. 2 jokers used. Fireball getting by Vulcan. Vulcan still with a joker to go, though, I think. Should honestly just use it, get in front of Fireball, and just do what he can. I mean, it's kind of late at this point. Vulcan should just go for whatever. And in the Blast from the Past tournament, we saw Vulcan be pretty strong at the Auzetta RX, pulling off a podium there. So potential high hopes for him here at Auzetta, but so far not going too well for this first Rallycross race of the season. Although his team may still be in a good position. Right now it's, I would have to, yeah, right now it's definitely a battle in team points between We Are Not Elite and Nice Yass. With, you know, we got Detail in the lead, Slaunch in a good position to maybe get a 4th. Then Nice Yass, we, like, right behind them, and like the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, like they're just competitive for all those spots. Whereas the next We Are Not Elite driver, Opix, he's got to be like on the edge of top 10. We haven't really seen him in a while. Looks like he's probably having a rough race. So I think Nice Yass probably in the best position right now to take the team win, but we'll have to see how it all works out in the end. And there's still plenty of time left. We could see some competition for this lead spot. We could see some competition for the podium spot. There's definitely plenty of time left. And I'm not sure what happened here, but Ump falls way out of favor now. I'm guessing that Slaunch and Real Deal I must have missed it. I'm guessing they used their jokers. So Real Deal's out now. Slaunch still has 1 to go. Ump also has 1 to go. So still time left for that top 5 battle. Real Deal just trying to hold on. Just trying to hold on, really. Detail now maintaining a pretty good gap over Luke in the lead there, first and second, as we are 7 laps in, so 10 laps remaining in this race. We're just about hitting the halfway point, getting pretty close to it. And I may keep an eye on these guys, see what happens with the Joker. I think Roman hasn't used his Joker yet. Actually, I'm not sure. Well, there it is. There it is. Now I'm sure. So Joker usage from Roman. He's going to come out pretty well behind Luke there in third. So that's not a bad Joker usage. I mean, Roman's like securely in third right now. And he's close enough to where if any mistakes happen up front, he could capitalize. So not too bad for Roman. Roman looking to really come back here from that unfortunate performance at Barvo. And Real Deal, another mistake. That is going to cost him. Real Deal potentially crumbling here. Trying to hold on to that top 5. Needs it for his team. Needs it for his season as well. Can't make any more mistakes like that for the rest of this race. If he does, it's going to put him in a bad position for sure. And I do like that in the top 3, have we had this happen yet? In the top 3 currently, we have a driver from each of the teams, which the last time that we saw a driver from each of the 3 teams finish top 3 was actually at the first race of Dillian, where we saw all 3 team captains finish in podium spots. Luke, Real Deal, and Detail first, second, and third. So 2 races, we've had it a little bit different. We actually haven't had, since that first race as well, Neighbor Hoopers have been the team to not be in that top 3 for 2 races now. So they're definitely trying to bring it back here, and it's up to Roman to do it, to hold on to this top 3 spot. Unless Real Deal can make some magic happen in fourth, because right now he's got Slaunch and Ump close enough behind him with 1 Joker usage left. It's going to be a fight for Real Deal at the end here. Podium spots are looking pretty secure as they have been. Let's see if we see any of these Jokers here. Are Ump and Slaunch going to pull the trigger? Ump's going to go for it. Oh, this is going to be good. He comes out right in front of Real Deal. And remember, this puts Slaunch potentially in the best situation, as he was running in front of Ump, and he still has a Joker usage left as well. So we're not quite done here. And that's big for Ump again. He's been really close on his Joker exits, but both times successfully pulling out of the driver that he needed to, pulling out in front of them. So he's going to be holding on to that 4th place spot right now, which could be crucial for the team battle and crucial for his own points too. This is actually, like I went through before the race, Real Deal and Ump are battling for a podium position in the overall point standings, and the person in front of them in second is actually Slaunch. So this is big for both of them, really. Real Deal and Ump duking it out for their own position, and potentially in front of them, Slaunch, they're trying to gain on him as well. So interesting how the points battles are working out here. Potentially, like, the closest that we've seen the lead gap so far right here. Let's see if anything happens. Detail and Luke 1-2. Oh, this is what we saw at Barvo, but a little bit closer this time. No pitch strategy, no crazy cautions. So it's going to be a little bit different. Through the sand. Still holding a pretty strong gap, and Roman safely behind in third. How does it go for Ump and Real Deal? Real Deal, interestingly, elects to go for the outside there, and he, honestly, that's about as good of an outside run as you can have. I got to give him credit. Like, that was a really good outside run. Like, no cheese, no sarcasm at all. That was actually really strong. That's probably one of the strongest outside runs you'll see all race. But still slower than the inside. And that's kind of the thing with the outside in that section. No matter how well you hit it, the person on the inside really has to screw up for you to gain any time. They have to screw up really bad. And you saw Ump honestly did not have the best sand run, but still was able to have a faster sand run than Real Deal there. So I'm not really sure why Real Deal elected to go for the outside, but it actually didn't work out too poorly for him. I mean, he obviously lost time, but it wasn't as much as I expected. So, I mean, that's the best he could have hoped for, I guess, once he made that decision. I guess he just thought that Ump was going to make a mistake in front of him or something, so he didn't want to be right behind him. I don't know. Ooh, Real Deal starting to heat up a little bit now that he's behind Ump. Ran that downhill pretty well, and we may see a battle heat up here. Real Deal and Ump are getting fairly close at this point in the race. About halfway through, a little over halfway through, I think, at this point. Look at this. Real Deal's really starting to get it back together. That's what we needed to see out of him. Kind of a question mark on how well he would do at the rally crosses. Kind of figured how well he would do it, like, I guess the GPs and the SXs, but the ovals and the rally crosses are really the question mark for his championship. And his first oval outing, not too good. He needs to bring it back here for rally cross, competing with Ump, and Ump just had the advantage in that corner, and that's unfortunate. Here comes Slaunch. Oh, the rejoin, side by side. Now a three-way battle here for this fourth place spot, as contested can get. And Slaunch, they all went so hard into that corner. And Slaunch gets the worst of it, and he's going to lose a lot of that time there. Well, still definitely gain time overall for sure, but it's going to take a few more laps of heaters here to get him back into that fight. And that was crazy there. I did not expect that rejoin to work out like that, but Ump and Real Deal were really railing, I suppose, those last few laps. They kind of almost conked themselves in the sand section, the way Ump battled back super hard on Real Deal for the position. Understandable, but almost really ruined both of their positions, but it ended up working out in the end, and Ump screws up again, making it interesting here. And this is unfortunate for Real Deal, because he's been, honestly, I think, like, the fastest here in this three-way fight, but cannot get by Ump. He had a really good sand run. Just, again, like, a lot of the sections in this track you can make really good runs in, and still, it is just hard to make those passes happen, even when you get those dominant runs in those sections, and even when the other driver has a pretty poor run, it doesn't matter. It's still really hard to make the move. You can gain a lot of time. If you're well behind somebody, if you've got a gap to work with, but making the pass is a whole nother issue. Definitely some passing zones, but tough to set them up. Ump again, Real Deal, looking really strong in the sand. And with this hard battling, this may still be a three-way battle yet. Definitely not over. Downhill. Obviously a lot cleaner that time by. And, you know, like I was saying before, this is a big battle. We've got literally 3 drivers that are all next to each other in points. Ump is the lowest down of all of them, and he's in front of the pack, so that's exactly where he needs to be if he wants to make his advancements in the point standings this week. And we could see him in the top 3 in points for the first time since, like, off the top of my head, the beginning of Season 4, I believe. So it could be a big comeback here for him. And being top 3 in points after racing at all the tracks would not be too bad of a position to be in. But with that lap there, Real Deal not running it too well in the downhill. Slaunch had a really good run, gets it side by side. But like I said, oh, that was unfortunate. Well, I'm not really sure how that happened. Let's go back here a second. It's going to be too far. And see how that went down. I was just about to make my point. I don't think he would have came out right behind Real Deal. I don't think he would have made the pass. So as like I was making my point, you can get side by side a lot of the areas in this track, but it can just be hard to make that pass. Yeah, that's just unfortunate. There's really not much else to say there. That's just unfortunate. And that may be the end of Slaunch's potential hopes for a top 5 there, although he's still, like, he's going to get 6th guaranteed. He's just well in front of the rest of the field there. Which if he can hold on to it, which he should be able to, that would still be a big improvement over his finish of what, like 8th off the top of my head last week. So still an improvement, but probably not the improvement that he was hoping for, being outside the top 5 2 weeks in a row. Definitely not what he wants, especially after a hot finish at Holy Gardens. But Ump and Real Deal still in a contested battle here. And we're getting to the nitty-gritty here. A few laps just sort of went by under the radar there. Only 4 laps remaining. So we're in the last quarter of this race. Crunch time now for this field. We saw the top 3 a little bit earlier. The gaps were looking pretty similar. We don't have anything too crazy there yet. Top 3 looking pretty strong. Looking pretty well set in their positions. Then we have the 4th, 5th place battle there. Ump and Real Deal going at it. Slunch in 6th. We have this is actually Fireball there in 7th, so he's making a comeback. Considering how terrible his start was, he's making a comeback. Hunter in 8th. 9th here is Vulcan. Oh my. 10th is Opix. And then as we go through the pack, it's going to be Camby in 11th. 12th is Shift. And I'm assuming then 13th will be Commando Pack right there. And lap traffic's been a factor in a lot of these races. The way it's working out at the end here, it looks like we may not even see it be a factor here. So that'd be interesting. If we do, it'll be like right at the end. And Roman, as you can see, oh, the lag cheese coming out for Roman. That is unfortunate. He's going to lose a lot of time. His hopes of battling for 1-2 are just out of the water at this point. And the hopes of Ump and Real Deal are kind of opening up. I mean, if this keeps happening, they're not. It was definitely out of the realm of possibility before. Now it's not. Now it's not. They could definitely come back with another lag issue from Roman and potentially look to steal a spot on that podium. Real Deal with a rough run there at the end of that corner. We're going to keep our eyes on this battle for another lap or so, as I see this is like probably the most important battle on the track. Closest. It's not too close anymore, but they could still close it in. Let's get a wide shot here of the track. Oh yeah, that classic Forge where it's just gonna, or Theater where it's just gonna, the render distance in Halo 5 is not too favorable for us, unfortunately. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So the top two are still fairly close, pretty much gone at this point. Again though, Real Deal, Ump and Roman in 3rd, 4th, and 5th honestly have like pretty fair gaps. Unless something crazy happens, all of those drivers right there, I mean, their races should be settled unless something crazy happens. Fireball's starting to inch closer into 6th, so we could see Fireball cap off a crazy comeback here, as he's definitely caught up to Slaunch enough to make it a potential move. I mean, it's going to have to be towards the end, but there's not too much time left, but certainly there is enough. Fireball is really going to have to hoop here, though, to make it happen, especially with Slaunch running that sand pretty well. Fireball also ran it just better, honestly. Like, they both ran it really well that time, but I think Fireball just really nailed it that time. Maybe running some fast laps here, kind of off the radar because of the terrible start, but he's looking strong, and here it is. Potential battle for 6th here. Fireball trying to get this last position that he can salvage. And this, I think, would be a pretty solid comeback. If he can make it to just outside the top 5, that's the best he can do at this point. That would cap off a pretty nice salvage race here for him, and that is unfortunate. Slaunch goes down on the rock. I was waiting for it to happen to someone all race. I'm surprised that it happened so late, but it eventually does happen. Goes down on the rock, and that's going to chalk up the position for Fireball, now advancing into 6th. You hate to see it. But if you're Fireball, you love to see it, because that's a pretty big position. It's only like a point or so, but better than not having it, I guess. We're getting close to the end of the race here. I think we're going to be coming up to the white flag lap here soon. Ump's been trailing Roman, trying to do whatever he can. But, alas, we're running out of time. We look at a lot of these positions on track, and honestly, we're kind of running out of time for most people here. There's just not much left remaining in the race. Not as big of a window of opportunity as there was earlier. As you can see, the gaps have just, it's not like Barvo at all. Barvo was insane, but the gaps have definitely stretched at this point. And the cheese and the downhill corner, Commando Pack potentially coming into play on the last lap. We now have a battle here for the lead. Detail and Luke making it exciting on the last lap. Commando now out of the way at this point, so not going to play any role anymore. That's about as close as you can be That's actually kind of funny that the lead battle is literally the only battle on track right now. But like I said, it can be pretty tough to pass here. Sand section, last chance. Detail ran it pretty clean, and he should be good to the end here. Unless something crazy happens in this last corner. We've seen it happen a few times. This time, not going to happen. Detail holds on to the win at the very end. Got scary, but was able to hold on to it. And then it'll be Roman in third, and yeah, Ump did get pretty close. Ump in fourth. We're going to have Real Deal coming across the line with the top 5. Fireball will hold on to 6th. Slunch in 7th. That one Magnum shot there. Wow, Vulcan. What the hell was that last lap? Go back. What is he doing? So it's going to be Hunter 8th and Vulcan 9th. What the hell was that? Vulcan just, like, the last opportunity, he just went for it, and it wasn't going to happen. I mean, he had nothing to lose there. The next closest position was not near him, so I guess he might as well see if he can make something happen. Opix will finish it out in the top 10. He tried. Oh, that was great. Good job, Vulcan. You gave it you made it interesting, all right? You gave it your best shot. I appreciate that. Whoa, Prin. The hell was that? Where is the there we go. Yeah, the big gap then from the top 10 outside. Camby in 11th. Oh, with the slammer. 12th is going to be Shift, and then at some point we'll have Commando cross the line in 13th, rounding out the field. So as you can see, there's actually huge gaps here at Auzetta, which we usually see for big tracks for some reason. Like on bigger tracks, that's just usually how it works out. But yeah, pretty huge gaps there. That's got to be like the biggest gaps that we've had. I mean, Holy Garden's had some big ones, but those were pretty sizable there for that race. It really separated. And it's kind of crazy that the only close battle at the end was literally the lead battle. Everything, well, Vulcan and Hunter were fairly close, but I think Vulcan was kind of memeing like to try to make something happen. I think Hunter kind of had that in control, but I don't know. Either way, solid first rallycross race to kick off the season here. We'll get, well, are these fully updated? Well, they're about as fully updated as we're gonna get right now. So yeah, we got about as fully updated as we can afford at the moment. But I'll bring on the results on the screen. There's not going to be like bonus points or anything like that, but you can see everything else. I believe the team win is updated on there though, so you can see that. And in the end, the first Rallycross team winner is going to be Team Nice Yass, with the 2nd, 4th, and 6th out of Luke, Ump, and Fireball. So just a strong finish there. The Neighbor Hoopers with a pretty good comeback, though. I mean, that's got to be, you got to be really pissed if your team we are not elite. With the winner of the race and coming in third in the team, that's unfortunate. But the Neighbor Hoopers with a solid comeback, though. They really clawed their way to a 2nd there for Auzetta. So I don't think they can be too mad at that. But hey, they got a GP coming up. They won their other team winning the GP. That's where they got to start their comeback. Oh man, that's unfortunate for We Are Not Elite. Oh my god. All right, but yeah, so all we know really is that Yard Charger is going to go to detail, and then other than that, the rest of the stuff will be determined at a later time. Boom. Yeah, how do you have the race winner and get a 6 average? That's ridiculous. Oh my god, that is bad. And of course, if Elite pulled off any magic, Elite wasn't there. The Neighbor Hoopers and Nice Yass had their full roster, but We Are Not Elite did not have their full roster. So, don't know if it would have mattered, but I don't know. You know, there it is. Like, yeah, don't know if it would have mattered, but that's just how it went, I guess.